Welcome to the heart of racing alongside our mates at Ladbrokes. Neil Breen here with my co-host Will Freedman. Sorry I wasn't here last week, Will, but I'm back.
I know, Peter filled in. I gave a horrendous dose of tipping last time, so I need your help.
Are we just wiping the slate clean?
But I threw you under the bus on a couple as well that we got wrong the week before.
But I got Riff Rocket right the week before at $1.90.
Yeah. Celestial Legend wasn't a good one for us.
Oh, what about...
And
I
Militarized
would have been
came
bad.
second.
I bagged all of the Randwick Guineas form, and they ran first and third in the Doncaster. Anyway,
Jesus.
That was one of those, even though it's a feature race, it was one of those races as they crossed the line.
I'd already done my dough before
As
then.
they crossed the line, I turned it off.
Oh, yeah, I'd already done my dough before then, and I'm like, at least if Celestial Legend doesn't win, I'll have salvaged something, and I was head down.
But anyway, no weight came down the outside flouncer. But that was 2 weeks ago. We want to look back last week.
Yeah.
The Pineapple, the Shocker of the Week award. I was going to raise every other jockey in the Queen Elizabeth against Pride of Jenni, but we're going to save that.
We'll get that.
We're going to have a long talk about Pride of Jenni
It was
soon.
a self-nomination because I gave the Owens back in. I said this on air. I said, if I don't win this one, the Owen re-emerges as we'll start Owen 1
Are you giving
again.
yourself the Pineapple?
Yeah, it was a dreadful week. For tips-wise last time. I said Shalonte had come at $5 for early listeners. She missed the kick by 7 lengths.
Okay.
So that was a beginning point, and it
went downhill from there.
Oh, it was a bad day.
So the Pineapple from Will Freedman is given to
But
Will Freedman.
naturally, I won't win the Pineapple
For the year.
Yeah, no.
You're just a nominee.
Yeah.
Have you got a Sayonara this week? Look, I'm going to Sayonara Private Eye.
Wow.
I just don't think
Really?
he's quite... Well, mate, he goes around tomorrow. Look, he's had, one really good run this campaign that was first up
Who
in
do
the
you like?
Lightning?
Sunshine in Paris.
In the all-aged.
Magic Time's one that can pop up as well. And look, Chain of Lightning at $9 is freaking over.
I know. We'll discuss the race at length. Espiona's the $4.20 favourite. Everyone's looking at it because of the way it ran last start. I think I'm going to stick with Espiona.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm going out on a limb because this is not a good race. We'll get to it later, but I'm still cautious of whether Manal is going to be able to reproduce.
In the Champagne Stakes, it won last start in the size and now goes to 1,600. It's been up a long time.
It's been a very good prep.
Yeah.
I mean, it ran well in the Slipper. Then it won the Champagne. It looks like a horse that will run 1,600 in a weak field, but I'll get to it. I really like Linebacker. I reckon Linebacker's the one that's going to jump out of the ground.
Okay, so we're going to say Sayonara to Manal. We'll discuss that race. I'm interested in what you've got to say about Linebacker. He's one of those classic kind of Champagne horses.
JJ Atkins.
They emerge in a midweek race, belt them, and then they go to Saturday racing. They're so simple. Is it Pride of Jenni or is it Zoo Gotcha from last week that we should have seen it coming?
Look, I guess we'll talk about Pride of Jenni later. Yes, it's so simple, but I think Zoo Gotcha has been the best mare going round.
I don't know why I looked around and backed the Tissue to
Imagine
beat it.
how far...
I backed the Tissue. I thought, and then, as they're coming to the line, I'm going, what are you doing?
But imagine if Pride of Jenni ran in the Queen of the Turf. She'd have lapped them. Actually lapped them.
I know.
So Zoo Gotcha outside of Pride of Jenni was obviously the best horse in that race. Probably did it a bit tough coming out the inside. I thought a Tissue had all the momentum. I thought a Tissue had won, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought it was going to win too, but it got beaten by the horse I was frightened of, and that is racing.
And then Circle of Fire also was very good, favourite.
Yeah, I know.
And it was a good story. It was a good story.
I kept thinking something was going to win the Sydney Cup at big odds, or it was going to be a weird race or something, and then 200 metres from home it was the same. I just went, you're a mug.
Yeah.
The informed horse won it.
Favourites are usually the best chance, though, so.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Scoop. Hey, mate, Gates Fly. We talk about the issue of the week. The issue of the week is Pride of Jenni's performance. We know she's a bold front runner. She put together those 2 1,600-metre wins last spring where she led. She beat the mares first week at Flemington. She went back next week against all the horses. She beat them again when they didn't think she could reproduce. She did. She's done it this campaign, all-age stakes. Okay, she got beaten in the Australian Cup when Cascadian ran her down. But this was different. This wasn't leading by 2, 3, 4 lengths.
This was a furlong.
She led by
47 lengths or something at one point.
Over 100 metres. So when she went past the 700, the other horses were at the 800. Now, you would think that she'd stop. She did stop, but it didn't matter. She was so far in front, she kept going quick enough to win, and she won a Group 1 $5 million race by 6.5 lengths. They just, like Winks won a Cox Plate by a panel, but horses don't win Group 1s by 6.5 lengths. She flogged them.
Yeah. Look, there's a couple of good points to bring out of this race.
Yeah.
First is, I think this has been a very hotly discussed topic within the industry. Like, I was at the trials at Randwick on Monday.
And
Monday or
everyone's
Tuesday.
talking about Pride of Jenni.
Everyone's talking about the race, and the jockeys are asking trainers, what did you think? Like, who was in the wrong? Like, we got Chris Waller
should
came
jockeys
out.
have chased?
But the problem is with that is the person who chases, and punters know,
Sacrifices their horse.
Yes. Who on earth is going to sacrifice their horse for the betterment of everyone else?
In a $5 million race.
No one. The only way they were going to beat Pride of Jenni was if she came back to them
just stopped.
and stopped.
Yeah.
And I reckon Damien Oliver was the best at it. He never got caught taking up the field. He'd always wait. He played chicken with the other riders and he'd win every time. So I couldn't blame the jockeys myself for what happened. It was embarrassing that they didn't, as a group, start increasing the pressure and start like a peloton with the breakaway in the cycling.
Yeah, where a few of them
go
go together. Yeah.
It didn't need to be one dragging everybody up. They should have all been like, guys, she's getting a bit far ahead here. We just need to increase the tempo.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the race, and this is why it probably is so simple, is it was so devoid of a second speed horse.
Yeah.
Like, it was just midfield back markers.
And we know that because what horse lobbed into second? It was Mr. Brightside.
That's right. And we know that he doesn't like...
And because it was Mr. Brightside in second, and Craig Williams, who gets hammered every time he does something in a Group 1 race that's not conventional,
No.
He just sat there and said, well, I'm not going to chase.
He does it. He gets slammed in a Group 1 if he rides in a Group 1.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, and then now people are like, oh, it's embarrassing. It was never a race. It's like, well, I think
a race.
Pride of Jenni would have won anyway. Like, she was the best horse in that race on the day. But I can't really blame him. The other part is that poor old Regan Bayliss, last prep, went out in front and got reprimanded by the stewards for I can't remember the exact wording of it, but questionable tactics when he bolted in front on Pride of Jenni and she got swamped, and everyone was on Regan's case, being like, oh, what silly tactics, you ruined the horse, and then Declan Bates goes out and gets the job done.
And he's a genius.
He's a genius. It just shows you, doesn't it?
Kieran Maher after the race was he was stunned, and he was surprised that Declan was so far in front.
Yeah.
Like, it was never the instruction to lead by 40. But I want to ask you these questions as a trainer, Will.
Yeah.
So, okay, it might have been a dead set one-off. Pride of Jenni might never be able to reproduce a performance like that where she can lead by 100 metres and win a Group 1 by 6.5. But she might.
Yep.
So next campaign, when she targets the King Charles, the mile race at Randwick, and then goes down and targets the Cox Plate, the McKinnon, whatever there is, has she changed racing? Do the other trainers now go, well, I've got this Via Sistina. Chris Waller's got this super horse, super weights for age horse, it looks like, from the UK. Does he sit back and go, well, I've just got to gamble that she can't do it again? Or does he have to change his tactics?
I think as a cohort, the jockeys need to, as I said, I think they need to recognise that they were travelling too comfortably, and it was allowing Pride of Jenni to get too far in front.
Yeah.
So they needed to be collectively 20
lengths behind instead of 40.
But if that's what it is, you know what I mean? They needed to be 5 to 10 lengths closer to her than they were. They were all travelling too comfortably, assuming she's going to come back to them. Well, you can't assume that.
It was between the 1,200 and the 800 where
and
she put the big margin.
The mistake from the jockeys was made in the first half of the race, not the second half.
Yeah.
The second half, the fate was sealed at that point. They couldn't have all sprinted from the 1,000-metre mark and chased her down. But they could have been 5 to 10 lengths closer, still travelling well. And a lot of the form analysts that do it based on times were saying that even to go at a standard 2,000-metre pace for the remainder of the pack, they should have been closer. They were going too slow.
Too slow.
As a group. And I think that's why James McDonald came in and said it's embarrassing that we saw a very talented horse do
And we
what
know
she does.
she's good and we know she can lead.
Yeah. So we saw that happen and we were still going too slow from standard race pace. Like they needed to be 1 length closer out of their comfort zone than be 2 lengths slower in their comfort zone.
Yeah.
So look, I don't think it'll change racing. It's not the first time it's happened, but it's certainly going to change the jockey's thinking when they're in a race with Pride of Jenni again. It'll do like this horse could go
without a doubt.
Do you reckon she'll go again next year? I'd say so.
Well, yeah. Well, they're saying they want to keep racing her.
Why not?
No, why not? When you're winning $5 million Group 1 races by 6.5
I'm not putting her in the paddock.
No way I'm putting her in the paddock. Get more for winning
an
the race
ATM.
than you will for the foal.
Cha-ching.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable. Well, we'll see what happens when they come back next campaign. She mightn't reproduce the form again, but she certainly... Look, the crowd loved it. She got a standing ovation. And when they go to the King Charles in the spring, there'll be a big crowd at Randwick. They'll go there to
100%.
see if she does it again.
She's a cult figure. I remember it was the cleaner. The cleaner used to do the same sort of thing. He became a cult figure.
The Tasmanian horse.
Yeah, just went out in front and rolled like that. It was a bit like
Bo Rogue used to
Might
do.
and Power was the
Might and
same.
Power. They love a front runner.
Love a front runner. Even Sunline could do it from time to time. Sit in front. So I reckon she's going to get a good following, like she already has. But I think after this time,
Oh yeah, massive.
yeah,
Absolutely.
people love
massive.
seeing it.
Rightio. We'll get into some form very soon. But now let's hear from Tom Hackett at Ladbrokes. He's going to give us a weekend update.
Thanks, Breeny. Another monster day of racing right around the country. Headlined in Sydney by the All-Age Stakes. And All-Age Stakes is one of my favourite races. I think it's a bit underrated race. It's always an interesting betting affair, and that's the case again this year. Espiona is the favourite. She's $4.20, coming off a string of good runs without winning this preparation. Sunshine in Paris on the second line of betting at $5. Southport Tycoon, the Australian Guineas winner, $6.50. Magic Times, a Group 1 winner, $8. Private Eyes, a Group 1 winner, $8.50. And the last start, TJ Smith winner, Chain of Lightning's there at $9. I think Espiona, she's been running really well without winning this preparation. I think she gets her chance to return to winning form this week. And I think the $4.20 for her to win is a good bet. The other Group 1 on the card is the Champagne Stakes. We've got 2 clear favourites here. The market with Ladbrokes saying it's a race in 2. Manal is the favourite at $2.35. Linebacker, unbeaten from 2 starts, is $2.80. Bit of support for broadsiding from the Godolphin stable as well at $6. But I've got Manal marked a clear favourite here. I thought she ran the fastest closing sectionals in the Golden Slipper. She was very good to beat a hot field in the Size Produce Stakes last start. I think she'll be too good. I think she's a deserving favourite. The other big race on the this weekend at Ascot is the Quokka. And Ladbrokes does have a runner in the Quokka. Super Spink is our runner. $31 to win, $7 to place with Ladbrokes. I think that's well and truly over the odds. Amelia's Jewel's the favourite. She's $3.20. Overpass, $4.50. Won the race last year. He'll be tough to beat as well. It's a great race and a great way to finish a massive day of racing. Enjoy it all this weekend, punters, and back to you boys in the studio.
Thanks, Tom. This is the Heart of Racing, made alongside our mates at Ladbrokes. Next, we'll give you the big bets for this weekend's racing. Take on the fun with Ladbrokes. Download the Ladbrokes app today for all your favourite racing features like Black Book, yard comments, and more. You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential advice, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Welcome back. This is the Heart of Racing, made alongside our mates at Ladbrokes. I'm here with my mate, Will Freedman. This is Neil Breen. We love doing this show every week. Look, this week's big ones, Will. There's racing. Look, I've left Brisbane out of this, and Brisbane's starting to heat up a bit because there were too many good races elsewhere. I suppose we've got to go to Randwick first for the third and final day of the championships. And the All-Age Stakes is Group 1 over 1,400 metres. It's weight for age. It's a famous race. It's sort of a bit of a last chance saloon for the carnival for a lot of these good horses. Before we talk about it, I'll roll through the prices. Espiona is the $4.20 favourite. She was luckless in the TJ Smith. Finished a close-up 6, got no galloping room. Sunshine in Paris is $4.80. Southport Tycoon out of the Australian Guineas, $6.50. Magic Time is $8.50. Private Eye, $8.50. Chain of Lightning, $9.50. Look, Espiona's $4.20. That's a pretty compressed market, though. There's a lot of horses under $10 there. They don't really know what to do.
It's a good race this year.
Good race.
It's a good race. There's no champion in that race. Espiona's there are some good Group 1 horses, but there's no champion in that race. I heard what you said about Private Eye. He's hard to back now. Like he's hard to take on trust.
But he could win on the weekend, and I'll feel like a mug because I put him
I
in
know,
the Sayonara.
but you can't back him.
No,
like
I can't.
So I'm looking. Look, Espiona's a good horse. If she runs straight, she runs with her head on the side.
I know. If she gets galloping room and runs straight, she should win.
Yeah, but Sunshine in Paris and Southport Tycoon, like they're both good horses. And look, I wouldn't rule out Buenos Noches bouncing back either.
Look, Buenos Noches is at $34. Airman's out in the market as well. Golden Mile, horses like that could jump up and surprise. I wanted to point something out to you, right? I don't want to labour the point about Pride of Jenni, but there is a noted front runner in this race up from Melbourne, Buffalo River at $41. What if he goes Burko?
You reckon?
Buffalo.
A Buffalo Burke.
He might just go Burko, the Buffalo.
I don't think so. I don't think. Who's right? They should have booked Declan again. That would have really been a.
Said off you go, son.
Yeah.
Try and put 15 on him in a 1400 metre race. Look, I think it's an intriguing race. I think you're right. If Buenos Noches won, I wouldn't be surprised. If Airman won, I wouldn't be surprised. If Golden Mile won, I'd go,
Airman getting back on top of the ground as well. It's a good four at Randwick, and they didn't have much rain, so it's a. Look, I think it's an intriguing race. It's hard to get too confident on any of them. I think it's very much you might take an exotic, like try and put a few into a trifecta or something.
Okay, the Champagne Stakes Group 1 over a mile for 2-year-olds. This is the third leg of the Triple Crown. Manal, which won the size produce, is the $2.30 favourite. Linebacker at $2.90. Broadsiding $6. A Node $7.50. Look, it's only an 8-horse field. I don't think it's the best field. The fillies have been beating the Colts. Do you want to start with Manal or Linebacker?
Well, I actually want to just harp on a point. This race is falling away every year.
I think it is too.
It's,
I'm a bit worried about it.
I'm not sure 1,600 metres at this point of a 2-year-old's career is like.
I think the JJ Atkins at Eagle Farm, the mile race for 2-year-olds, is a great race,
and it's in the right part of the year. Because your miler types come into the stable later because there's no races for them 2 months ago unless you're a stakes horse.
2-year-olds. This is like the first mile race for 2-year-olds.
What I'd like to see is maybe the Triple Crown changes slightly. And you win one of the lead-ups for the slipper. You win the slipper, and then you try and win the size. So have the Triple Crown between 1,200 to 1,400, or 1,000 to 1,400. And then leave the mile races for later, because this is just an afterthought. Like, Manal, I would almost guarantee you that the owners of Manal would have thought after the size, I'll put her in the paddock. But then you see this field come up, and you go, well, we can't not run. Like it'd be neglect to not run. So
because Manal's beaten the Golden Slipper winner in a Group 1 race over 1,400 metres at this same track. And the second favourite at $2.90 is a horse that won by 4 lengths at Hawkesbury midweek first up, Linebacker. And then it fell in by a head when it beat a Node in a Group 3 race. I'm not bagging that. I wish I had a 2-year-old that won a Group 3 race. But here it is, $2.90 in a famous Group 1 race. Of course, Manal is going to have a race.
I like Linebacker here, though. I think he's the progressive horse.
He when he won that Hawkesbury midweek race, and listeners should go back and jump into Linebacker's form on the websites and then find that first run. He won that midweek race like a horse that was going to run in the Champagne Stakes.
Yeah. And
gangly, big, strong, bit wobbly.
His prep looks like it's peaking for this event. Like when and I know you say he fell in last up, but the pressure is so much higher at Group 3 level.
Oh, yeah.
So to even be able to still be able to overcome that pressure, he'll handle that more this time at 1,600.
And there mightn't be quite so much pressure. They might roll along.
That's right. And I'd expect Manal to be a bit closer, but I always worry about 2-year-olds being up for quite a long time, whether they start running on tired legs. So that would be my only issue.
Hallmark Stakes, Group 3 over 1,200 metres. Front page is very short here at $2.15. They're bunched after that. Valana is $4.40. Aft Cabin, one of your favourites, $4.80. Marzu is $6.50. I don't really know what to make of this race.
No. Look, Front Page has been a good, honest horse.
But $2.15.
Well, it was very good last
I'd rather
start.
be backing Valana.
Well,
Yeah, I know it was.
I think I'm just gonna watch this race. I'm not confident.
Sit it out.
Like if Marzu is $6, it's not the best field of all
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
It's
'cause-
going like he is the one that we should sayonara. You cannot get back on Marzu. If it wins, I swear to God, it's like I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, can we make a note of that? What
Yeah.
time Will said that? If Marzu wins, Will Friedman doesn't know what
I'll
he's
admit
doing.
it. I'll admit it on the
Okay.
next show.
Can you nominate yourself for the pineapple?
I'll
again?
give myself the pineapple.
Okay, you've got it. Okay, rightio. Let's go to Mornington. It's the Melbourne Metro meeting this week. There are 2 listed races, the Mornington Cup over 2,400 metres, the Hariba for the sprinters over 1,200 metres. Look, we'll get through these. Look, I reckon you're watching these and having fun on the weekend. First Immortal, it won fresh, but it was beaten last start. It's the $4.20 favourite. Strawberry Rock, $7. This is in the Mornington Cup. Little Mix, $8.50. Knowledge is at 8. Future History's at 9. Anything could win that.
It's actually a more important race than it looks on paper, though, because the winner gets a free kick into the Caulfield Cup.
Oh,
of the Mornington.
straight in.
So
Okay.
it's actually quite
That's good.
So horses that are a bit lower in the ratings that aren't necessarily a walk-up start to the Caulfield Cup, it's an important race for them. First Immortal, remember, he was the horse that just couldn't find his way into the Melbourne Cup last year. So, look,
I don't mind him, First Immortal. He's a nice horse.
But, yeah, so one fresh, then beaten last up. They do that a bit. They get second up syndrome and then they sort of bounce back out of it. I reckon Deny Knowledge is quite a talented horse. I'm not a huge Little Mix fan. I think it's been running in some sub standard races, but I'd be heading towards First Immortal with a little bit of a brainy on Deny Knowledge.
Okay, a bit of an each way. The Hariba Stakes, Grand Impact's at $5, Mahaba $5.50, Jigsaw's at 8, La Danseuse Rouge, is that how you say its name? $9, the Inferno $9.50, Pintoff $9.50. This is a tough race.
Yeah, it's a look.
Maybe Jigsaw for me. Stack them up and go bang.
Melbourne's sort of tapped out for the autumn, haven't they? Once you get to Mornington.
Yeah,
Cup
but
Day.
but this is like what
it's
happens.
not a great. It's like I remember saying it's a bit like a 50-cent coin, but it's been like used for about 80 years, and like all the sides of wonky
Worn
edges.
off.
Like it's very much. One thing I'll tell you about Mornington is back Mornington trained horses. The locals dominate there because
it's a good
the
tip.
horses are used to it. So when you go through the form, just give a tick next to the ones that are trained at Mornington.
there. Rightio. The Quokka, which is Perth's Everest, is worth $5 million. That's a lot of money.
Do they market it as that? This
No.
is Perth.
No, but it is.
It is.
It is. Look, this is a good race. I'll run through them. Local favourite, Amelia's Jewel, the $3.40 favourite. Overpass, it won the Group 1 Winter Bottom on the track and distance last November, is $4.40 first up. Race is well fresh. Bella Nipotina's gone over after a second into TJ at $6. Always runs well. Oscar's Fortune, it rolled Amelia's Jewel with sustained speed a fortnight to go over 1,100 metres. And King of Sparta, that loves running fresh, 60 days between runs, is $8. This is a really good race.
Really good. This is probably almost the race of the day.
I reckon it is.
I'm a big...
In the All A's, so the race of the day.
Yeah, I'm a big King of Sparta fan.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of his. Like, I want to see him win. I think 750 is pretty juicy. I'd be worried about Bella Nipotina going over so close to her last start.
Had a lot of racing.
I reckon there's a little part of them that wishes they hadn't locked in a slot. Then they'd be running in the TJ. The all-aged.
Yeah.
And I reckon it would have been close enough to favourite in the all-aged from its TJ run. Overpass, obviously, did it last year. It's a bit of a funny track, Ascot.
Yeah, see, this is the thing with Amelia's Jewel. Because she's a back marker, there's a lot of risk involved.
She's got to get luck.
Yeah, she'll get wide, she'll be lengths off them, and at Ascot, normally a horse or two on the speed can ping on the turn, and then you just got to hope that they die.
And there's not a lot of speed from the better horses. Like Overpass might just be able to dictate up
Get
front.
out there and go whack.
Do it again, like just sprints. If it gets 2 or 3 lengths, it's going to be hard to run down at Ascot.
Right, yeah. Well, we're watching with interest on Saturday evening when they run the Quokka in Perth. Okay, Stable Mail.
I'm going to redeem myself.
Okay, you're going to redeem yourself. This is for Ladbrokes Communities. Ever want to connect, banter, share tips with a group of die-hard racing punters? It's time to check out Communities. It's available in the Ladbrokes app. Okay, so last week your stable male missed the start by 7 lengths. We've put that to the side. We are only looking forward.
You know, you have to sympathise with me. When a horse does that and you've given a tip on publicised it, and it goes like that, you think every eye is watching you. And I remember giving a tip down at the Wagga Carnival once. It was called Circularity. I'd gone out on the Terps the night before and tipped it.
To everyone?
Wait, no. I went, and so I was like, I thought I'd only said it to a few people. So then it goes in the first. I'm leading it round because I didn't send any strappers down. It came down on the truck. Tommy Berry's on there. And I'm looking at Tommy. Tommy doesn't look that well either. We've both been out the night before. And then Tommy gets legged on and his manager goes, "Oh, this better win, boys." And me and Tommy look at each other, go, "It's the first race at Wagga. Like, no one really cares." And he goes, "No, mate. You tipped it to anybody that would listen, both of you." So I'm going out there. Now I'm like white sweat coming off my head. Like everyone's coming up being like, "Oh, this is the race." I'm like, "Oh, Anyway, it won. It won by a couple of lengths. And Tommy came back. I've never seen him look so relieved either. And then I got a message from Brad Haddon, who I didn't even know that I met the night before. Brad Haddon sent me he sent me a message saying, "Thanks for the tip." I'd never met him. I must have met him the night out, had no idea that I'd met him at all. So anyway, there's a bit of sympathy when you start tipping horses you train. But I do like tomorrow at Orange, Cup, Big Dance Qualifier, Piraeus. Piraeus is the name.
Okay, Piraeus. So you're
It's
tipping
about $3
from the stable.
You'll watch it
Orange Cup. Yeah,
you'll watch it last start and you'll go, "Oh, it was a bit disappointing," but it had one gallop in 3 weeks because we tried to freshen it up, gave him the run, and now he's ready to roll.
Okay, well, we'll have a bit on him tomorrow, and then we've got a bank for Saturday.
That's right.
And then we'll unload on these things because it is time to unload. Okay, I'm going wide. I'm going to tip Huetor each way in the JRA plate, race 3, Group 3 over 2,000 metres at $27.
Good horse when it's right.
Good horse when it's right.
Very good. Like I can definitely get it around that. But I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. I'm gonna take Linebacker in the
Linebacker at $2.90 in the Champagne. Yeah. The Progressive horse goes bang in the Group 1. First Immortal for me, also the win bet in the Mornington Cup. Good on you, Will Freedman. We'll talk to you next week. Let's hope you don't win the pineapple.
And don't have to admit that I've got no idea next week.
And happy punting, everyone.